Hi everyone, I hope you're all well and have had a lovely summer break. Hello and welcome back to those of you who I already know, and a huge welcome to anybody that I haven't yet met. My name is Helen Buskin. I'm the Professional Learning Lead at LETTA, and we're very excited to be working with all of you for the next 2 years for the induction period, and that's whether you are an ECT, so an early career teacher, a mentor, or an induction tutor. So welcome to today's webinar. Today's webinar is going to be a brief introduction and overview of the Early Career Teacher Induction Programme, providing you with some information about the programme, the timetable, the expectation and requirements of the ECT, the mentor and the induction tutor, and hopefully we'll clear up the roles of the mentor and the induction tutor, because that's something new that's coming in this September, and some of you might be a little bit unclear of what your expectation is. So the agenda for today, we're going to have a look at the key changes to induction from September 2021. We'll have a look at the early career framework. As I said, the induction mentor and induction tutor roles, the programme, the timetable, and then a little look at the UCL Extend platform, which I know lots of you have received your logins for. But if you haven't, don't worry, you will get them in September. So key changes from September 2021. So NQTs, which is what you would have heard newly qualified teachers referred to in the past, are now referred to as early career teachers, so ECTs. It's a 2-year induction programme. Previously it was 1 year, now it's 2 year, and it's underpinned by the early career framework, the ECF. As I said, a new role, the induction mentor, has been created, fulfilling a separate and distinct role to the induction tutor. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about what those two roles look like and how they're different from each other in a little while. The ECTs will be formally assessed twice, once midway through the 2-year period, so pretty much at the end of the first year, and then once again at the end, but there will be progress reviews each term, but a formal assessment does not take place at those progress reviews. ECTs will get a 5% timetable reduction in their second year, and they'll still get the 10% reduction in their first year as they do now. So the early career framework. The early career framework, the ECF, builds on initial teacher training and sets out what ECTs should learn about and how to do it. And it's designed to support development in 5 core areas, which will be familiar. So we've got behaviour management, pedagogy, curriculum, assessment, and professional behaviours. So just going into a little bit more detail, the framework is presented in 8 sections to align with the teacher standards. Within each one, there are key evidence statements. So those are the learn that statements, and then there are practice statements. So those are the learn how to statements. You can see the evidence and practice statements for each standard on pages 8 to 25 of the ECF. And you can just click on this link, or if not, I'll send this separately so you can click on this link. So you've got standard 1 through to standard 8, set high expectations, promote good progress, demonstrate good subject and curriculum knowledge, plan and teach well-structured lessons, adapt teaching, make accurate and productive use of assessment, manage behaviour effectively, and fulfil wider professional responsibilities. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we've got the mentor role and the tutor role. So schools should be appointing both an induction tutor and an induction mentor. So head teachers should identify 2 separate staff members to act as the ECT's tutor and mentor, and both should hold qualified teacher status. Here's the difference between the 2 roles. I'll just stop talking for a moment and then you can read that. You can pause if you need a little bit longer to read that, but I'm just going to start talking now, so hopefully I don't distract you while still reading. So as I said, Ideally, there'll be 2 people for these 2 separate roles. But as you can see in bold here, it does say in exceptional circumstances, there may be 1 person that's carrying out both of these roles. If that's the case, then that person needs to know what hat they have on when they're doing those 2 different roles. And the mentor role is more of that kind of day-to-day, week-to-week supportive role, meeting regularly, discussing targets, next steps, and being that ongoing kind of supportive person. The tutor role is a bit more of an assessment paperwork side role, but obviously the 2 people will communicate. Okay, so LETTA's Early Career Teacher Induction Programme. ECTs will receive an offer of training and support that enables them to understand and apply the knowledge and skills set out in each of the Early Career Framework evidence statements and practice statements. And the LETTA offer is framed around themes that are linked to Early Career Framework, and the content will be delivered via a combination of face-to-face training, webinars, tutor support, conference events, and online study materials. And the LETTA ECT offer embeds a fully funded induction programme that includes e-learning resources, mentor development, support for schools to implement the new Early Career Framework, regional networking opportunities. This entitlement meets the statutory expectations set out in the Early Career Framework that comes at no cost to schools. So just kind of breaking down a little bit what the options were for schools. So on the very left column here, you can see there's the school-led induction programme. This is where schools chose to design their own 2-year induction programme based on the Early Career Framework. Then you've got the core induction programme. This is delivering my induction programme in my own school using high quality materials and resources by the DFE. Then there's the full induction programme, where schools chose to use a training provider to support meeting the needs of the new statutory induction requirements. And over here on the very right-hand side, you'll see LETTA's offer, which is what your schools have opted to choose. And if you kind of scroll down, you can see from the ticks that our offer incorporates the full induction programme. And we are working alongside the East London Teacher School Hub and UCL, and we'll be delivering the full induction programme and the UCL materials. So you would have been probably sent information from either D at the East London Teacher School Hub or direct from UCL. You might have been sent your login information. I'll go into a little bit more detail about that. So not only are we offering the full induction programme with the provider, which is the UCL, but we are also enhancing our offer. We don't want to just leave it at that. We'd like to offer additional components to really enhance the induction period for our ECTs. So we have additional face-to-face training sessions with expert facilitators. We've got a dedicated tutor team, developmental lesson observations, coaching and feedback. So we'll come into schools and do lesson observations. A range of emotional and practical support, including counselling and services. Financial support is free of charge and anonymous. An integrated appropriate body service, so you don't need to do that and pay for that separately. It's incorporated in our offer. A learning community, a teacher pedagogy development project in year 1 and a facilitated peer review in year 2. Professional support for early career teachers, mentors and induction tutors for year 1 and year 2. So, principles of the programme. So our programme is based around community, collaboration, research and reflection. As I said, ECTs will be supported by a team of dedicated tutors and a range of facilitators who are leaders in their fields. We really want to give the ECTs that sense of community, which they kind of, especially during the last few years, have really missed out on. So having that community where they can seek out people in similar position to them, and ECTs and mentors will have regular contact with LETTA tutors. So collaboration, ECTs will learn together through discussion, research and peer review. Research, ECTs will meet current educational research, which underpins practice. and reflection. ECTs will reflect regularly on their learning with each other, the LETTA tutors, and with their mentors. And then just looking at the aspects that I mentioned, which enhance the experience of ECTs by joining LETTA. I'll let you pause now so you can have a little look at those. I'll let you pause so that you can pause at your own pace. So we're going to have a little look now at the actual timetable. I have sent this out to all of you. If I haven't sent this to you, do get in touch with me and I'll make sure that you receive it. To me, it looks very clear, but to you, it may not. So we'll unpick it a little bit just so it makes sense. So the general consensus is that ECT time will be on a Friday afternoon. You may see some weeks where it's outside of the Friday afternoon. That's not ideal. Obviously, we want to follow a pattern, but there may be some sessions where they fall outside of the Friday afternoon, but I'll highlight that for you in a moment. ECTs won't necessarily be off-site every Friday afternoon. There will be some weeks where they will be off-site, hopefully, if COVID allows, and they'll come to Stedman Primary School for some face-to-face training. It may be that there's 1 week or a couple of weeks where they are not off-site, but they are engaging in online facilitated training. And there will also be weeks where they are having their ECT time, but they're not off-site and they're not engaging in any facilitated training. And that's where they will be undergoing their own self-directed study. So for example, if you have a look here, on the 24th of September, online materials and self-study, we've got the same here, we've got the same here. So those are weeks where they still entitled to their ECT time, but they're not necessarily off-site or engaging in any training that's facilitated. That's their time to be doing self-study. If we just go back to the beginning of autumn, just kind of take you through so it makes sense. First week in September, I think most people go back or have gone back on the 1st of September, but that first week, really, I just want you to kind of watch this webinar and get your head around things. And if there's any questions, do reach out and I can follow up and explain anything a little bit further. So the first actual session that will be facilitated will be Friday the 10th of September. When I put this program together, it was on the proviso that things would be back to normal. So this training would take place at Stedman, but we need to obviously go on risk assessments and what the government expectations are. So I will let you know whether this will be face-to-face training at Stedman or whether this will be delivered online. So yeah, I'll get in touch with you about that session on the 10th of September. The following week here, we have a session that's actually on the 14th of September, which is a Tuesday and not a Friday. This is an induction conference. This is one of the UCL aspects of the program. So unfortunately, we couldn't move this date. It is set on that date on Tuesday. And the timings are there. As I mentioned here, we've got some self-study time. Now here, this is UCL training. This is delivered online. It will be delivered online in autumn. And because we want to cater for the different needs of our ECTs, we have broken them up into clusters. So wherever you see UCL training, and as I said, in autumn, this UCL training here and here will be online. The ECTs are split into clusters. So we've got the EYFS and Key Stage 1 ECTs together in a cluster, and then we've got the Key Stage 2 ECTs together in a cluster. We will also have a SEN cluster as well. I'm just confirming the date and times for that. So I'll let you know once we know what time that session will be, but it will also be in the same week here. Because we've got the two clusters, we couldn't do the sessions at the same time. So where you see UCL training, do have a look whether if you're in the YFS, Key Stage 1 group, have a look and see which date it will be for you. It'll either be the Wednesday of that week or the Friday of that week. So those of you that had a kind of query about some of the sessions being outside the Friday and being on a Wednesday, is actually only one per half term. So where this happens, it's only happening once per half term. Where you see online learning community, again, they're broken into clusters, but they're still on the Friday afternoon. So some people will be in the 1:30 to 2:30 group, and some people will be in the 2:30 to 3:30 group, but it's still on the Friday afternoon. So just glancing across autumn 1, for example, everything happens on a Friday afternoon with the exception of this conference and with the exception of this 1 week here where there will be UCL training. The EYFS and Key Stage 1 ECTs will have their training on Wednesday and Key Stage 2 will have theirs on Friday. We just have a look at autumn 2 together as well, just so that this makes sense. And you can see the first week in autumn 2 is the UCL training. So the same thing will happen here. EYFS and Key Stage 1 have their session on Wednesday, which is the 3rd. Key Stage 2 will have their session on Friday, which is the 5th. But then all the other weeks after that are Friday afternoons. Okay. Here you can see we've got a session, fingers crossed, scheduled, a face-to-face session at Steven. That is still in autumn, so there's a chance that could be online, depending on government guidelines and risk assessment. That's a facilitator session. And then the following weeks after that are self-directed. What I will say, something that happened this year, where ECTs were not coming off site and they were not engaging in a facilitated session online, and they were engaging in their own self-study, some head teachers, especially in schools where there's lots of ECTs, sometimes struggle to have them all out at the same time for cover reasons. So you can be flexible. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row here where there's not any sessions they have to leave and go off site for, and no expectation of them being online for a facilitated session, and it's just self-study, then you could be flexible during those weeks. And if you need to move ECT time around to other days because you're struggling with cover, then you can do that. And again here, that's a Friday afternoon, online learning community, EYFS and Key Stage 1. First session, first hour, and Key Stage 2, the second hour. Okay. I won't go in detail again, spring, but I will just pull it up and let you pause it so that you can make sense of that one. Summer. Okay. And then I've just got a little screenshot of the UCL Extend platform, which some of you may have received your login for. If you haven't, don't worry, you'll receive it once things get back in the flow in September. And you log in and you will see the modules, different modules. You've got an overview, and then you've got the modules here. And when you click on that, it breaks down all of the materials to work through. There's videos to watch, there's tasks to do, there's discussion prompts, follow-up conversation points with your mentor. So it's all there broken down for you on the UCL platform. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there now. I've covered quite a bit. but I'm well aware there may still be some questions or some things that you were querying or wanted to know more about that I haven't covered. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. The reason I've done this as a webinar that you can access at your own time is for that reason exactly. I know the first couple of days back, especially if you're going back on Wednesday and you've got Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I didn't want to have a session booked in where you had to come out of class or at the end of the day on Friday to listen to this. So I thought it'd be easier for me to record it and then you can watch it at your own pleasure, I guess, and then pause and kind of rewind and recap anything that you need to have a look at again. But as I said, I'm aware I might not have covered everything, so do let me know if you've got any other questions. And anything else that comes my way or anything else that you need, I will pass on. But as we are partnering up with the East London Teaching School Hub and UCL, you might receive information and documents from a few different people. So I know it might get a little bit overwhelming at some points. If it does and you're unclear of anything, I am your port of call to get in contact with, and I'll help you out any way I can. Okay, well, hopefully I'll see you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever time you've chosen to watch the webinar, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.